welcome or welcome back to an Invisible and Invisible Illness Awareness Project. This week I want to talk about a pharmaceutical mast cell stabilizer, which is known by several different names such as chromoglycic acid, sodium chromoglicate. There's a specific brand known as Cromolyn, which is taken as an eye drop, and then there's Gastrocrom, which comes in a plastic vial and is taken orally. What I tried is called Intercron, which is basically the exact same thing as Gastrocrom, except it comes in glass ampoules instead of plastic. And that's just what they call it here. So I actually tried twice, several months apart, to take it for just a couple days, but I didn't have any concrete instructions as to how I was to take it or even how much. And I didn't know that it takes your body a long time to adjust. So you have to really give it time. So I had this box of vials and I didn't really know what to do with it. So I turned to a support group, and there was a pharmacist in the group who is also a mast cell patient and told me what her mast cell specialist had recommended, which was for an adult dose, you take 8 vials a day, 4 times a day. So it'll take you 2 months to reach the dose that you're working towards, and then you wait another month, so you've been on it for a total of 3 months before you can really say, is it working or not? I didn't know all this initially, so I first tried it for a couple days. A few months later, I tried it again, and I was like, this isn't helping, it's even making me feel worse, so I just gave it up. And then once I got this information, I decided to really give it a try and stuck with it for several months. So I tried to take my time and add 1 vial at a time. And what I noticed was when I started with the first vial, and every time I would up the dose, 24 hours later, I would feel this boost of energy. But then afterward, it would subside, and the next few days, I would be really even more fatigued than usual. And then things would kind of level out. The problem is, I noticed when I would sleep in and I wouldn't take it at the exact time I normally would, that I would wake up and I would be so out of it that I couldn't move, I couldn't get up out of bed until I took my dose and then waited for it to kick in. And so it really is very time sensitive, and I would have alarms set at 4 different times throughout the day so that I would always take it at the exact same time. And I was kind of wondering, well, if I'm spacing them out 4 hours apart, then that means after my last dose at night, there's 12 hours before the first dose in the morning, so I'm inevitably going to be really out of it when I wake up. The problem is, it just really seemed like I was more out of it than usual when I didn't take it, but that when I did take it, aside from that really brief boost of energy, I wasn't feeling better than usual. It was like when I was taking it, I felt the same as I had before I started taking it. And it was really just that initial boost of energy that got my hopes up so much. After about a month, I went from 5 up to 6 vials a day, and I decided to just take 2 vials 3 times a day, but I was still taking them only 4 hours apart. So part of me was wondering if maybe I needed to space out the dosing more and that would help. And I was also wondering if maybe I needed to up the dose even more to really see results. But at that point, I started having headaches constantly. I had this pain in my wrist that hadn't been an issue since I restricted my diet, except for when I was in a flare, and that started up again. So I did try moving up to 7. Again, I had that brief feeling of feeling better, and then the next few days I was really out of it, so I decided to back down again. So I went back down to 6, and then when I went back down to 5, the headache stopped and I felt better, but I still didn't like this feeling that I was so dependent on it, and it was also starting to get expensive because it wasn't covered by insurance. And by expensive, I mean it would have cost me for that dose maybe like 50 euros a month, which is nothing compared to what I've heard in the States, where it could cost you like $1,200 a month. But it was more than I could afford, and it didn't seem like it was really helping, and I was just feeling very restricted and dependent on it, and I decided to just finally continue tapering off and let it go. Health-wise, I am doing a bit better now than I was at the time, but there are still a lot of things that I don't tolerate any better than I used to. That's one of those things I feel like it could be worth giving it another try, but only if I'm financially in a situation where that makes sense and just have like a couple months to be completely out of it. So unfortunately it didn't work for me, but that is another one of those things, just like quercetin, that I know a lot of people really depend on, and it improves their lives so greatly. So I definitely wouldn't discourage you from trying it, because obviously everyone can react differently, and my experience being less than ideal does by no means mean that everyone else's will be too, but I just wanted to share my experience, so there it is. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have tried this yourself or you're thinking about trying it, please share your experience in the comments. I'd be really interested to read it. And if you like my channel, go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week.